Shunned by her people, a blind alien woman finds love with a human who restores her sight. The caves of Kerith rang with the quiet sound of dripping water. The echoes carried like whispers that mocked her isolation. Shira pressed her palm against the cold wall, counting steps, feeling her way forward. Born blind, she had never seen the crystalline world of her people. To the Karathi, sight was sacred, their god's first gift. Those who lacked it were said to be cursed. Cursed. That was the word she had heard since childhood. Her people gave her food, yes, but never affection. Children pointed and laughed. Adults avoided her touch. No one wanted to marry a woman who couldn't see the glowing caverns, the stars or the cracks or the sacred fires. Shira grew in silence and shame. So she lived apart, in a small cave near the river, forgotten, until the day the outsiders came. The mining accident happened far above the caves, in the rocky mountains where humans had come to dig for metals. Shira had heard them from afar, their strange voices echoing through tunnels. One day, she stumbled across someone injured. The sound reached her first, a groan, half buried under stone dust. Following it with cautious fingers, she touched something warm, a man's arm. "Please," he rasped, "help me." Her people would have left him. Humans were intruders, greedy for minerals. But Shira's heart, long denied companionship, answered differently. She dragged water from the river, cleaned his face, and stayed until his breathing steadied. When he finally sat up, he touched her hands gently. "You saved me." "My people would say I am cursed," Shira murmured. He frowned. "Cursed? You're the kindest person I've ever met." His name was Daniel, a field engineer, stranded when the tunnel collapsed. He stayed in her cave for many days, nursing his wounds. And though Shira could not see him, she learned him by voice, by the warmth in his words, by the strange but soothing rhythm of his heart. For the first time in her life, she was not mocked. She was wanted. One night, as the cave fire cracked, Daniel grew restless. "Shira, I work with machines, medicine too. Back home we can fix eyes. I don't know if it's possible here, but maybe I could restore your sight." Her breath caught. Sight? The word was both intoxicating and terrifying. "My people said the gods never intended me to see. If you tried and failed, they would only say I deserved it. But what if it works?" Daniel's voice trembled with hope. "What if you could see your world, see me?" Silence stretched between them. At last, she whispered, "Then I would no longer be cursed." It was not easy. Daniel had to convince his superiors to let him bring alien tissue samples back to camp. He worked in secret, crafting a device, delicate lenses, and an injector that could stimulate Shira's dormant optic nerves. Every night, he returned to her cave with updates, while her heart burned with equal parts fear and longing. Finally, the day came. "Are you ready?" Daniel asked, his hand brushing hers. Shira's whole body shook. I think so." The procedure was quick but painful. A sting in her temples, a burning in her eyes, and then darkness turned into light. At first it was chaos. Colors exploded, too sharp, too bright. She screamed, covering her face. Daniel soothed her, dimming the cave fire until the world softened. Slowly, shapes emerged. The cave walls shimmered like crystal veins. Water reflected silver. And then she turned toward him. For the first time in her life, she saw a face. His face. A man with kind eyes, weary but warm. He smiled nervously. "Well, do I look how you imagined?" Tears blurred her new sight. She laughed, sobbed, reached to touch his cheek. "You are more." Word spread quickly. Shira walked back into her people's village, no longer groping blindly but standing tall, her gaze steady. The elders gaped. Children who once mocked her fell silent. "The cursed one sees," someone whispered. How? Another demanded. Shira lifted her chin. The human restored me. He saw worth where you saw only shame. The elders muttered a blasphemy. Sight was a gift of the gods, not of outsiders. Some accused her of betraying tradition, but others, young ones who had long doubted the cruelty of old ways, looked at her with awe. Daniel stood by her side, quiet, letting her speak. I am not cursed, Shira said firmly. I am alive, and I choose who I am. In the days that followed, the village remained divided. Some refused to look at her, fearing her unnatural eyes. Yet others came quietly, asking Daniel about healing, about whether their own illnesses might be cured. But Shira cared little for their judgment. For the first time, she walked the crystal caverns, marveling at beauty she had only imagined. She saw rivers glittering with light, caves glowing with moss, children playing without fear, and every sight led her back to him, Daniel, who had given her more than vision. He had given her freedom. One night, as they sat by the river, Shira whispered, When I was blind, I thought my life would always be darkness. But now I see the truth. My people's eyes were open, yet their hearts were closed. You open mine. Daniel took her hand, his voice thick. And you open mine. Shira, he faltered, swallowed. I love you. Her heart skipped. Love? The word was soft, dangerous, beautiful. I love you too, she whispered. Not all stories end with war or exile. Shira and Daniel's bond grew in quiet places, sharing food, exploring caverns, building trust where once there had been only loneliness. Though the elders never fully accepted him, more and more of her people began to approach with curiosity instead of fear. Perhaps one day the old beliefs would fade. Perhaps not. But Shira no longer cared for their scorn. She had found what her people denied her all her life: dignity, hope, and love. And when she looked into Daniel's eyes, she knew she was no longer cursed. She was chosen,